Hello everybody, and welcome back once again to Gaza Gujarati. And after the events of the last episode where my hybrid Viggo officially declared his retirement, I've been left with no official flagship theropod hybrid to represent me, and I've been thinking ever since about how to replace Viggo, and thankfully I think I managed to find an alternative. You see, a long while ago, I've had the idea of making a flagship theropod hybrid in the form of a 2.0 feminine version of my submission to the Great Hybrid War by Goji Center named Deus Sanguinisaurus, in a similar fashion to how Pixel Studios made a 2.0 feminine version of his submission to the Great Hybrid War by the name of Nemi. And so, taking inspiration from that concept and utilizing some of the newly gained knowledge I have regarding some cool tricks about hybrid making, I am now ready to make a successor to my most powerful theropod hybrid ever. So without further ado, let's begin. The first genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is the Tyrannosaurus rex. This will be my hybrid's base genome, providing its bulky and robust body build with an incredibly strong skeletal frame, heightened cognition, bolstered senses of sight, hearing and smell, alongside feet pads for better stealth and weight bearing, a specialized hip anatomy for performing incredibly sharp turns, and most importantly, its freakishly strong bite. The second genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is Taurovenator violante. This underrated carcharodontosaurid will provide raised neural spines for extra muscle attachment points that provide a stronger core frame, as well as strengthening the neck muscles for better shock absorption, head support, and better fueling its monstrous bite force. However, this would cause the neck to stiffen, decreasing its flexibility. However, Taurovenator, like ceratopsians, had a ball socket joint at the level of the neck, which allowed the head to maintain a solid range of motion and thus fixing this problem entirely. The third genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is Gigantoraptor earlyanensis. The largest of the oviraptorans provides some major modifications to the tail, with longer chevrons, wider transverse processes, and stronger epaxial muscles contributing to stronger caudofemoralis muscles for extra speed, as well as adding more mass near the now wider tail base for maintaining low rotational inertia, aiding in both agility and stability. The fourth genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is Dinochirus mirificus. As one of the largest theropods in the fossil record, Perry the platypus's prehistoric counterpart here had some jacked up forelimbs, which will make for the base foundation of my hybrid's forelimbs, being incredibly robust and large, but not overly large so as to not add excess weight. The fifth genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is Shantungosaurus giganteus. The largest non-sauropod dinosaur will obviously be used to increase my hybrid's size, strengthen my hybrid's skeletal frame and cardiovascular system to better accommodate its functionality at such a large size, not to mention its reinforcements to the limbs. By providing the base leg and tail anatomy, with the tail base being modified by Gigantoraptor to prevent the agility decrease that the chance of ossified caudal tendons would cause, as well as modifying parts of the hands. For you see, Shantungosaurus was a 16 metric ton hadrosaur who, just like its close relative Edmontosaurus, has hooves on its forelimbs on which it walked when in a quadrupedal stance. For context, Shantungosaurus basically walked on its fingernails. So given that my hybrid will be a knuckle walker, as you'll see why in a bit, the Shant's wrists and some aspects of its palms will be incorporated to prevent my hybrid from crushing its hands when in that pose. The sixth genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is Euplocephalus tutus. With a name that literally translates to armored head, this ankylosaurid's contribution becomes very obvious, as it will provide the facial armor for my hybrid to better tank face bites and headbutts from other theropod adversaries, alongside the eyelid armor for eye protection, in addition to modifying the nostrils for better cooling up the air accessing the body and brain. The seventh genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is Xenosmilus venezuelanensis. This badass Machirodont will help significantly boost my hybrid's arms for deadlier swipes and slashes, as well as more decent grappling capabilities. In addition, it will add its large sabers and incisors, and it is here that I'd like to mention that T-Rex actually had heterodont teeth, with the back teeth meant for grinding, the middle teeth meant for crushing, and the front teeth meant for shearing and slicing. And so, the Xenos front teeth will enhance that function by a solid margin. The eighth genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is Dolinosaurus glyphodon, an extinct red-toothed shrew from Spain. This nightmarish furball had abnormally high concentrations of iron in its enamel that far surpassed those seen in any modern-day shrew species. I can use PGE or precise gene editing to further enhance this trait by incorporating this iron concentration onto the claws, not to mention acting as a starting point in the immunological realm with a highly potent immune system. The ninth genetic contributor to my habit's genome is the harpy eagle, one of the largest modern-day birds of prey. Will help broaden the posterior end of the skull for a stronger posterior bite as well as enhanced vision and hearing, not to mention its chest heel, proportionally reduced in my habit's case, which will work in tandem with the raised neural spines to provide sufficient musculature for both the head and forelimbs while still not being overly big so as to not add too much weight, in addition to an enhanced sense of balance for better stability, bolstered predatory and strategic intelligence, and lastly, its toe claws, which will aid with maintaining traction when performing intense physical maneuvers. The 10th genetic contributor to my habit's genome is the southern giant hummingbird. The largest species of hummingbird provides proportionally larger heart, lungs, and chest cavity, high affinity hemoglobin, high red blood cell / capillary density for optimal oxygenation of body tissue, low blood viscosity, gular fluttering, and sarcoplasmic reticulum in the cardiac muscle cells to facilitate rapid muscle contractions during intense physical activity and prevent fatigue. Furthermore, it provides its flicker fusion rate for faster visual processing speeds and thus faster reflexes, though this will obviously be reduced in my habit's case to leave room for other equally important bodily traits, with increased mitochondrial density, especially near the ocular muscles, fulfilling the energy demands of this advanced visual system, and lastly, to counteract the detrimental effects of the chest skill on the forelimbs' range of motion, it will provide its ball socket joints at the level of the shoulders for maintaining a decent feel of movement with those arms. The 11th genetic contributor in my habit's genome is the red-bellied woodpecker. This bird makes up the first third of my habit's special trick, as besides a stronger hyoid bone, cranial cancellous bone plate, and a near-complete lack of cerebrospinal fluid for better shock absorption at the level of the skull, it also provides the ability to wrap its tongue around the brain for extra protection against blunt force trauma to the head, as well as a hard keratinous barb tip, which it typically uses to catch insects via impalement in a harpoon-like motion, which in my hybrid's case will allow it to one-shot its opponents by piercing the brain through the eye socket, a maneuver it can pull off at best during adulthood after years of training courtesy of its strategic intelligence. The 12th genetic contributor in my habit's genome is the Maasai giraffe, the second third of my habit's special trick. The most powerful species of giraffe provides the base structure of my habit's tongue, with its long, flexible, yet muscular black tongue being better suited for withstanding the recoil of its harpoon attack at such a large scale, coupled with an antiseptic saliva and tougher mouth lining adapted for eating thorny plants. This will come in handy when biting down on hybrids relying on quilled defenses. The 13th genetic contributor in my habit's genome is the giant anteater, the last third of my habit's special trick. It modifies the tongue muscles for more precise control of its harpoon tongue attack, coupled with modifications to the hands for better adaptability to knuckle walking, complemented by its gigantic sickle-shaped claws used in my habit's case for dealing fatal wounds to other adversaries. The 14th genetic contributor in my habit's genome is the spotted hyena. Scar's cackling minions provide stronger cardiac muscles and energy-efficient muscle fibers for better endurance without sacrificing much power, coupled with stronger stomach acids which come with the additional perks of a stronger immune system and a remarkable ability to switch between aerobic and anaerobic metabolisms with minimal lactic acid buildup, bolstered senses of sight, hearing, and smell, and a stronger layer of enamel for preventing the teeth from cracking when biting through armor and crushing bone. The 15th genetic contributor in my habit's genome is the Nile crocodile. The deadliest crocodile species in the world provides its highly advanced immune system, four-chambered heart, rapid blood clotting, enhanced pain tolerance, even greater predatory intelligence, lactic acid shunting to the stomach, better color/night vision, enhanced hearing as well as low-frequency vocalizations, stronger directional smell, sensory pits on the snout, and lastly, additional tail musculature for better counterbalance. The 16th genetic contributor to my habit's genome is the Calabar burrowing python. This iconic snake finally makes a return with its thick scales on the epidermal skin layer as well as the collagen fiber complex beneath it, which is similar in terms of both microstructure and thickness to rhino skin, acting as an excellent first layer of armor. The 17th genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is the ringed caecilian. This goated amphibian provides a major boost to my hybrid's immune system, making it immune to a wide range of toxins and diseases, coupled with the mineralization of the python's collagen fibers, making them significantly more durable while still retaining flexibility, in addition to modifying the skull, making it highly ossified with a broadened snout for better withstanding its own bites as well as the bites and rams of other theropod hybrids, and lastly, its ring-like formations on the skin for a more intimidating appearance. The 18th genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is the Congo Bashir. This living fossil provides its flexible, diamond-shaped gonoid scales, which will be situated at the dermal skin layer underneath of the python scales, especially that these scales are dermal bony structures that, while not directly connected, are tightly packed and serve a defensive function just like the osteoderms embedded in the caecilian's dermis, with the Bashir scales basically combining the best traits of Arapaima scales and alligator gar scales into one, in addition to extra blood vessels for better transfer of oxygen to the organs, as well as a valve to close off the windpipe to prevent unwanted substances from making their way through. The 19th genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is the spiny mouse. This little rodent will be used to grant my hybrid the ability to regenerate its joint cartilage, keeping them in good condition as it grows up to adulthood. The 20th genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is the vampire bat. Concluding my hybrid's genome, this guy needs no further introduction. Bolstered immune system designed for iron management as well as thermal energy sensors on the snout that work in tandem with an anticoagulant saliva for bleeding out its prey and consuming its blood as an additional form of nutrition. Now that the genome is finalized, it is my pleasure to introduce to all of you Dea Sanguinisaurus, name meaning the Saurian blood goddess, codenamed Venus. Height 4.8 meters or 15.75 feet in her quadrupedal stance, 5.5 meters or 18 feet in her bipedal stance, length 16.5 meters or 54 feet, and weight 17.6 tons. And just to clear out, the 17.6 tons is in US tons, which means it translates to 16 metric tons, just so you know. So yeah, this will be my new flagship theropod hybrid. And before you ask, no, I will not be making a new series where I pit up Venus against the most powerful theropod hybrids in the Great Outdoor Board like I did with Viggo. However, if you do still want to challenge her, you are more than welcome to do so. And with that, we conclude this video. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed this video, and be sure to tune in next time for more hybrid content. So until then, goodbye.